Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
I have said this before, and I think it's worthy of saying it again. It seems we constantly hear about how Social Security is going to run out of money. But we never hear about welfare or food stamps running out of money. What's interesting is the first group worked for their money, but the second group didn't. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by a Patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Oh, thank you very much. God bless America, Kate Smith. Thank you, thank you. And good morning, everybody. Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations. Wonderful people serving you, along with some of our great folks that are advertisers, including Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Call and get on the route service this morning at 734-6969. Locally owned Western Way Services. Right now, let's go over to our main studios and see if we have a pledger. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Aha, it sounds like you're doing the duty.
Yeah, I'd love to.
All right, go ahead, sir.
All right, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very well done, Wheels. Thank you very much. And right now it's time for the weather forecast to start off our week. And we want to say good morning to Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. All your carpet and flooring, including this being Monday, Mohawk Monday. And they've got all kinds of Mohawk carpeting over there. All you have to do is just stop in and pick out what looks great for your home at Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. And right now, here is Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather forecast as we get ready for another work week. We are looking at chance of thunderstorms and rain showers for today. A little bit on the breezy side as well. High at 58 tonight, expect a low of 44. Tomorrow, partly to mostly cloudy skies, slightly breezy. High at 58 with an overnight low of 38. Then for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, pretty much sunny skies. Highs are going to be in the low to mid-60s. Expect lows in the mid-30s. And then as we head on into the weekend, partly cloudy skies. Highs are going to be in the mid-60s. Yesterday's high was 73, and tonight's sunset is at 6:46. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Oh, Gina, great job. Thank you. Brought to everybody to start things off this morning by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. Wow, what a weekend, and last night, what a rainstorm. Holy mackerel, we had puddles on top of puddles out here at the old ranch, and not too bad this morning, kind of pleasant really, but Gina just said we may have some more rain. Hey, don't forget, SafeLink Internet, 677-8000, the number to call, no contracts, no credit checks, unlimited data. SafeLink Internet, Idaho's #1 choice for wireless internet, and 18 years and counting. These folks are absolutely the best. Please get a hold of them today, 677-8000, that number to call, 677-8000, SafeLink Internet. Oh, and another thing, too, that I want to remind you of, and we're so blessed to have them in this area, By the way, before I get started on this, the flies must be having their last hurrah. I mean, I know this is going to sound callous to some people that are fly lovers, but I hope they all croak today. I've never seen so many flies come into the office this morning. They're buzzing on the microphone. They're buzzing on the computer. They're buzzing all around my nose. Don't forget Daryl's Cleaners at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. The best cleaners in the universe. You can take in your old rumply crumplies, and by golly, they can get them looking brand spanking new. Oh, by the way, I know that you're probably putting this on the back burner, but do you realize it's not that far away, the holiday season? Tablecloths, all that type of thing you need cleaned. Yeah, there's a new word for you, cleaned. All that you need cleaned, stop in and see them today at Daryl's Cleaners. It was the flies' fault. 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Really good folks. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. As you know, I am a sports nut, sports enthusiast. And it was an unbelievable, for me anyway, sports weekend. Boise State University ranked in some polls 20th in the United States, other polls 21st in the United States, goes down to Utah State University. There's only one way you can say this. They got a you-know-what whooping. I mean, they got a whooping. And then my team that I've been hoping and praying in my lifetime can get to the World Series, the Chicago Cubs, are down 2-0 against the New York Mets. In extremely cold weather back in New York, the Mets absolutely outshined them with their pitching staff, etc. And boy, they're going to head back to Wrigley for 3 games, and they better win all 3. And then, not that I'm really crazy about either team, but this was kind of humorous, really. I was watching the Michigan State game the other night, and I got up and I said, well, this game's history, and I went in and I was going to take a shower. And Deanne knocked on the door and she said, Michigan State won. I said, wait a minute. How could they win? There was only a couple seconds left in the game. And she said, the punter from Michigan fumbled the ball and they ran it in, and I go, oh, and I missed that. And then I want to just say this to all of those that are pro football lovers, and we're watching the game last night between the Colts and the Patriots. The offensive coordinator and, quite frankly, the coach for the Indianapolis Colts should be hung by their thumbs. That was the dumbest play I ever saw in my life last night. Enough said about that. Good morning. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Here's a poor center and a quarterback and about half the defense for the Patriots, and they're going to use that as a fake trick play. It didn't work, believe me. Oh, don't forget Denny's restaurant. And we ate over there yesterday, had an outstanding breakfast over there yesterday with our dear friends Dave and Don Zanino. And I suggest you stop in anytime, all the time, at Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley and 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. And here is the winner of our football pool this last week for the Denny's Grand Slam Breakfast. And it is Juan over at Berry Equipment and Rental. Juan wins it at Berry Equipment and Rental in the game between Burley and Filer. Okay, what do you got for me, Deanne? And his name is Juan Alvarado, right? Okay, Juan Alvarado. There, thank you for running in with that. And he gets the Grand Slam breakfast from Denny's at 611 Overland in Burley, 291 Pole Line in Twin Falls. And we will be over at Denny's restaurant this Thursday for Lunch Munch in Burley. Don't miss it. I want to also mention, too, our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric. Oh, these flies. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. They're open 7:30 in the morning till 5, Monday through Friday. And you probably saw the big transition coming. Cooler temperatures, down in the 30s. Yep, when you step out of bed in the morning, you want that furnace to be working efficiently. Well, get some clean air filters for your furnace. They've got them all for you, all your heating and electrical needs at Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. You know, I got to tell you, folks, I was watching Greta Van Susteren the other evening on Friday night. And if I get a little emotional about this, you're going to have to go along with me a little bit. But I was watching and listening, and they had the face of this girl blacked out, fortunately. And I almost wish they would have distorted her voice due to the fact of the content of what she said. I don't want anybody to try to harm her. But she was talking on Greta Van Susteren's program regarding how she had been abducted over in the Middle East by ISIS and had been sold as a sex slave. And ISIS was taking her and many others from their community after, and this is the part that just enrages me, after ISIS went in and beheaded and annihilated all the men and the young men and the boys in their community. And the girls were told they had to commit to Islam. Is there any question? Is there any wonder as to, yes, all you liberal loons out there, and that's what you are, that this is not a holy war, that this is not Islam against everybody else? Killing and beheading and annihilating the males of a town and taking the women and telling them you have to convert to Islam right now. In modern day society. And our president, yes, I'm going to condemn him, sits back and doesn't even call it what it is. I am so repulsed. And believe me, for those that really know me and are friends with me, they know I'm having a hard time not using the language I would really like to use to describe Obama in this situation. I'm holding back. But I am so repulsed by our lack of getting involved, our lack of doing something definitive, our lack of calling the enemy what it is. This administration can't do it. This administration is as weak and milquetoast as we have ever had. And I shudder to think what may happen if the pantsuit lady wins the presidency. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Folks, you got to respond to this. I mean, for those that saw that interview and know what's going on around the world, speak out before that becomes illegal too. Don't forget Four Paws Bed and Bath, 370 West, 200 South of Rupert. Hey, they're going to have a great big costume Halloween party. They know how to have fun over there. It's going to be on Saturday, October 31st, and they're having their annual Halloween party. I just knocked the microphone over, chasing flies, excuse me. They're going to have a parade of costume dogs, and the owners will start at 1 o'clock, followed by prizes given for dogs and family members, and they're going to be taking pictures, and there's going to be refreshments. Oh, come on, have fun at the Halloween party at the Four Paws Bed and Bath, 370 West, 200 South of Rupert. Really, really a lot of fun. I know Kathy and the rest of those folks over there, they make having an animal that much more fun, let me tell you. Thank you. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Come on, don't leave me hanging here. What are your thoughts about what's going on globally right now with ISIS and this absolute insanity around the globe, and we do and say nothing. Don't forget, on Tuesdays, Dr. History. Minnecasia Sales is the sponsor, the main number one sponsor of that segment. And they're located at 1321 East Main Street in Burley, right across from the airport. Zach and the rest of the crew, hey, they've got doors. Hey, they've got lumber. Hey, they've got windows. Oh, yeah, the Western windows. Don't forget, the weather is changing. And be sure and save on your heating bills with the best of Western windows from Minnecasia Sales. Wonderful, wonderful people serving you at 1321 East Main Street in Burley, sponsoring Dr. History, Minnecasia Sales. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Thank you for your call.
When the United States doesn't lead, the rest of the world falters. And the sad thing is we don't have a leader. And he's not going to do it.
Chris, we haven't had a leader. We haven't had any smell of leadership in this country for the last 7+ years. We are stuck with 458 days more of the worst president that has ever sat in the Oval Office. I have no respect for him whatsoever, and I don't want anybody to call me and say, well, you have to respect the president. No, I don't have to respect the president because he has not shown respect for us.
No, he doesn't. He's sticking his finger in our eye. And the worst thing is that we could elect Hillary, and she will just laugh her way. Oh, her laugh just grates on my nerves.
It's like a magpie.
Yeah, but I truthfully think that Trump, in his attitude, is the only way we can go because he isn't afraid.
Well, he's not afraid. He's belligerent. He's arrogant. You can come up with all kinds of words that would attribute to his personality. But, you know, the one thing is about Trump, and I got into a discussion on this the other day with a friend of mine, and they thought he was too brazen to be the president. Well, you know, maybe we need brazenness in the Oval Office. Maybe we need somebody that doesn't care what they say or do. Maybe we need somebody that absolutely is going to put us first.
When did America lose their swagger?
2008.
And you know what the problem is? We don't have anybody out there with it. And if we don't get it back, we're going to be overrun if we aren't already. And nobody will close the border. Can you get into Mexico as easy as the people can get into the United States from Mexico?
Well, you said something a minute ago, and then I've got another call. Caller number 2, wait, I'll be there in a moment. But you said, when are we going to get our swagger back? There are those on the left, and their numbers are growing, that don't want us to have a swagger. They find that offensive. They find out that they tell us a winning attitude is not acceptable. They want to have us just be another also-ran or a third world country. We're not going to get our swagger back until we start stepping on toes on the dance floor.
Right. And I'm not campaigning for anybody particularly, but we've got to stand up and have a backbone, because otherwise we're going to be mowed over.
I couldn't agree more. Chris, you're always welcome on the show. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Caller number 2, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hey, we haven't had a lead, like you said, for the last 7 years in office. We have, and we're not even leading from behind now. I mean, it's a joke, this administration, what they're doing.
No, wait a minute. I got to correct you, my dear friend. I would have said maybe the same verbiage, but then all of a sudden I have to think about this and say, and I know you're going to agree with me, a joke refers to something laughable. This is so serious and so heinous, it's not a joke.
Well, I agree there. He's not a joke. And I do respect the office of the President of the United States, but I do not respect the person and his policy that he's implementing.
Absolutely. This man has thumbed his nose at the Constitution. This man has thumbed his nose at an American value system. This man has thumbed his nose at Congress, and this man has thumbed his nose at the middle believing portion of America that loves God, loves family, and loves virtue, and he's thumbed his nose at all of those things.
Yes, and I want the world to know, and those that are listening on the internet around the world, the President of the United States does not represent the will of the people of America.
Not by a long shot with this guy.
No, mine either.
Boy, I'll tell you, did you, honestly, and it's hard for me to talk about it because, honestly, it brought me almost to tears, listen and watch that interview that was on Greta Van Susteren on Friday?
I didn't. I missed that one.
Doug, I'm telling you, man, and I know you're a good Christian man, and you know the difference between right and wrong, and you have values in your life. How we could sit here and listen to a woman talk about all the men, all the boys in her community being lined up, either beheaded or shot or tortured and then killed, and the women sold into sexual slavery and told they had to convert to Islam. I mean, and people will sit back like a dumb dodo bird and say that there's not a religious war going on in the world?
It's been going on for years, like that email I sent you on Libya and
absolutely
other countries and the religion they were.
Absolutely.
ISIS has stepped in. Islam has stepped in.
How dumb and gullible, really, Doug, are we? I mean, I am absolutely amazed that we're this stupid.
Well, the people are standing up, but the people that we've elected into office are not listening to us and not doing our will.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a commercial right now. And what I'm going to do after the break and after we give away some delicious cinnamon rolls, I'm going to talk about Idaho 3%ers and that march on Sunday. And I want you to call back later on after you think about it a little bit and talk to me about that. And I want others to respond too. The gist of what I'm going to talk about after this break is, and you know this to be true, Doug, the Times News gave the College of Southern Idaho every absolute advantage in having the refugee center and all the supposed pros and pluses of the refugee center. You know that.
Yes.
On the other hand, this march that took place from the Idaho 3%ers that were against the refugee center, all they got was a picture and they didn't even get a story about why they were doing it and who was there. And it just showed complete bias to me.
It is. And like I say, the Times News is the most liberal rag in a conservative area, and I don't know how it survives.
Well, I'll tell you one thing.
One way that we could send a message to them.
Well, I guarantee you, I got to do a break, Doug, but I'll guarantee you, listen in a few minutes and call back because the message is, I'm not going to take any guff from them. I'm not going to be put under their thumb, and we're going to fight back. Thank you so much. God bless you, my dear friend. I really cherish my phone calls and my people, but boy, I was offended by this. Anyway, give me a call, 436-2244. Gotta pay some bills right now, and I want to tell you about hearing. What? What did he say? Shh, listen. Did you hear that? You didn't? Well, maybe you should call Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids right now today, 312-0957. And the number is very important because they're located right across from the Minidoka Hospital emergency room, and Dr. Christine Pickup knows all about hearing. And if you're having some hearing problems, take that hearing screening, and she can and will help. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. She's going to be on the air with us this week on Thursday, I believe it is. 312-0957. You call today. You know what we're going to do right now? We're going to give away some cinnamon rolls. I look forward to this every Monday, and our thanks go out to Sophie's Chatterbox at 530 East Street in Rupert, on the Rupert Square. What a delicious restaurant, open 6 to 6 weekdays, 6 to 2 on weekends, and a wow bakery. That's right, you're going to say wow when you taste those delicious cinnamon rolls. This is a contest for first-time winners only. And the number to call, 436-2244, if you know the answer to this question. Here's an easy one, okay? Who was the actor that played the father on Father Knows Best and then later on became the head actor of Marcus Welby, M.D.? What was the actor's name? And played the dad on Father's Knows Best. Give me a call real quick and you'll win a half dozen cinnamon rolls from Sophie's Chatterbox, and they are good. All you have to do if you're the winner is call over there at 436-0354. Tell them when you're going to be there to pick up those cinnamon rolls, and they'll have them piping hot and runny and juicy and gooey and, oh, delicious at Sophie's Chatterbox. I want one right now myself. Who was the actor that played the father on Father Knows Best? Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Is it Robert Young?
Who is this?
This is Kalen Clegg.
Say your first name again, please.
Kalen Clegg.
Is it K-A-L-E-N?
L-I-N.
L-I-N. Kalen Clegg. Where are you from?
Burley, Idaho.
Well, you have just won a half dozen delicious cinnamon rolls. All you have to do is call over to Sophie's and tell them when you'll be there to get them, and you're the winner. And it was Robert Young. Thank you very much. All right, there he goes. Kalen Clegg is the winner of Sophie's Chatterbox cinnamon rolls. Oh, they are good. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to talk a little bit more about what we were mentioning about the march on Sunday. God bless those people from the 3%ers of Idaho. God bless them for their activity. I want to say thank you to Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Wow. Nick Greenwell, physical therapist, and all the physical therapists there, they know their stuff. I mean, they know all about the exercises. They know all about the sports medicine. They have the use of the hydrotherapy pool right there, the only one in the area. And they can help you get back to being and feeling like you. Call for an appointment today, please, at 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation serving you. You give them a call today, 678-1191. You know, I had a gentleman call last week. Well, I think it was probably the week before. And asked me if I would absolutely highlight this march that was going to start in the Winco parking lot. And I'm looking at a picture. I will give this to the Times News. They took a picture, put it on the front page, but no story, no interview, no questions, nothing. And I'm very embittered about this. They gave all kinds of coverage and do give all kinds of coverage to the College of Southern Idaho and their refugee center, all the pros that were supposed to swallow hook, line, and sinker. But all of these people, and I looked closely at that picture, and I saw a man in a wheelchair. I saw a lot of young ladies. I saw a lot of elderly standing up for us and standing up for Idaho. And I have said this many, many times on this program. I am against these refugees coming into this area. I am against that particular cultural diversity. I honestly feel that we're being duped into this acceptance of these people coming in here at the risk of many things. Economic factors, job factors, location, living factors, income factors, and possibly the most important, danger factors. And this program will not weaken. I saw a letter in the paper this weekend by Barry Myers of Twin Falls, and the headline and caption of this letter was "Close the Refugee Center." It was a very well-written letter. Barry, if you're listening this morning, I congratulate you on this. And I think it's the feeling of many or most that the refugee center in CSI's campus is out of control. And I absolutely agree with the 3%ers holding that march, and I salute them. I want to make sure I say this. I salute them for going down on a Sunday and taking part in something that I absolutely, God bless them for the time and the effort. And by the way, Kalen Clegg, that won, I just was handed a note by my lovely wife that the Sophie's Chatterbox, I'm trying to read this and understand it. Sophie's Chatterbox, I understand, is going to be closed until Wednesday due to a water line that broke. And so they've got to hold off until they get all the water mopped up and everything. Okay, so hold off, Kaylin. They will be open and you can get your cinnamon rolls. There you go. Calls are welcome. Come on, give me a jingle. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Let me hear what your thoughts are. And to the gentleman out there that called me regarding that march, give me a call and let me know exactly some of the thoughts and some of the personalities that were involved. I'd sure appreciate it. Hey, by the way, don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric offering rebates on qualified Lennox home comfort systems. Whether it's a gas furnace, air conditioner, or a heat pump, you and your family will always enjoy the comfort. Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox can save you money. Call today at 678-0459. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
Why in the world are we letting these people in from the first place? But why are we giving them 7 years to get their act together? In other words, we're going to subsidize them for the next 7 years.
Okay, Keith.
Is there any reason for that?
Well, you're mentioning something that you and I have no control over whatsoever. And to answer that question, when you said why, I can't answer it. I can't answer why our borders are not shut down. I can't answer why this afternoon at 1 o'clock there are armed militia, armed military, National Guard on our borders to make sure that there's no more infiltration, not only for those that want to become illegal aliens coming to this country, but also the bad guys, the real bad guys trying to come across the border. I can't answer your question. I don't know. We've got a lot of people here locally, and you know them. You know some of them that are absolutely without jobs. They're destitute. They're worried about how they're going to feed their children. They're worried about how they're going to keep a roof over their heads. And we bring in people from a totally different, diverse culture and basically hand them the key to the city. I'm incensed about this.
I am too. And then I hear about busloads coming to the border, and the Border Patrol is ordered to wave them on through.
Yeah. The insanity of
60 people on a bus.
Yeah. The insanity of what's going on to our country with the liberal persuasion trying to say, oh, well, we're going to create a new world. We're going to create a new dynasty. No, they're not. They're going to take this country and lower it to the levels it's never been in its 200-plus year history, and it's going to go down the drain. We're going to lose our Constitution. We're going to lose our value system. We're going to lose everything that has made this country great because we're letting liberal loons take over, Keith.
I realize that, and what makes me very, very angry, none of these are families. These are adult men.
Yeah.
And so what are they here for? I'll guess with you.
I hate to even perceive a thought as to what could and or might happen. I have been against this. Oh boy, I've had some of the hate mongers out there on the liberal left that just do nothing but yell, bigot, bigot, bigot. But they can keep on calling me a bigot because our numbers are growing of people that are absolutely incensed with this insanity that's being forced upon us. Keith, stand tall, stand proud. Thank you for calling in.
You bet. Bye.
Thank you, sir. It's insanity. It's absolute insanity. And again, I want to just stress that for those people that took the time and the effort to go march on Sunday, each and every, and I'm looking at this picture, and a lot of young women and a lot of elderly, I mean, God bless them. God bless them for standing up against what the College and the Times News are trying to ram down our throats. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Oh, by the way, remember the Muslim kid in school that made the clock, brought the clock to school, and school officials, and rightfully so, thought maybe there was the danger of that being a bomb because of the times we live in and, of course, some of the individuals involved. Anybody with half a brain would have been very, very protective of making sure all was well. And I think they handled the situation well. They confiscated the clock. They made it sure everything was safe. In these days, you can't take any chances. Oh, but the liberal left. Oh, that poor boy. Why, they made a mockery out of him. All he had was a clock. The liberal left went on and on and on. And even Obama felt sorry for the young man and invited him as a special guest to the White House. Oh, gosh, going to put our arm around this boy, this Muslim boy. We're going to show the world that everybody else was wrong in being worried or concerned. Oh, wait a minute. Stop. It turns out that this kid, with all the pomp and the circumstance and everything else that's been given him, is, oh, that poor boy, why they treated him so cruelly. A picture has come out this morning, and I urge you to try to follow up on this and learn more. But a picture has come out with this 14-year-old kid that was supposed to be so squeaky clean and Simon Pure. And it shows this kid with his arm around a genocide-killing terrorist leader of Sudan. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. I saw that, and I thought, my absolute hatred for the liberal left in this country, my absolute hatred for the Democrats that are trying to just demonize conservative thoughts and values, it energized me this morning. I'm going to keep going after these people. Insanity rules in the Democratic Party and the liberals. Insanity rules. And Obama, having spent much of his growing up life being nurtured by Muslims in the Middle East and their concepts and thoughts, inviting this young man to the White House. Oh, well, we're going to praise him. We're going to just tell him what a great guy he was. Sure, he scared the dickens out of everybody with that clock, and it did look like a bomb. I wonder what the thoughts are in the White House this morning with Obama and the rest of his henchmen, seeing that picture of this 14-year-old kid with his arm around a genocidal killer. Try that one on. Let's not forget our friends at Berry Equipment and Rental. Oh, my goodness sakes, what wonderful people they are on Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, South Lincoln and Jerome, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Went by the Burley location, what was it, Deanne, yesterday? Or was it? Yeah, it was yesterday. And looked at all the Bobcat skid steer loaders. They got them all over, and man, I'll tell you what, they've got what you're looking for. They have the equipment to get any job done right. And the big Doosan loaders and the Coyote tractors, all there. Believe me, they're open Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 5:30, Saturdays 8 to 5, and they can help you at Berry Equipment and Rental, the best. 3 locations, Twin Falls, Jerome, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Good folks over there. Hey, we'll do the weather real quick, and then I'll take some more phone calls. And during the weather, I'm going to kill some more flies here. Holy smokes, they're perched on everything. Don't forget Mad River Laser. They've got a tremendous gift shop over there at 502 East Street in Rupert, right on the square. And lots of home decor items. Halloween and fall goodies are everywhere. And, of course, they've got all the football jerseys to show your team spirit with the names on the back. And, all the businesses. Time for the end of the year awards to get processed and made up. Crystal awards, acrylic awards, wood plaques, everything at Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather forecast as we get ready for another work week. We are looking at chance of thunderstorms and rain showers for today. A little bit on the breezy side as well. High at 58 tonight, expect a low of 44. Tomorrow, partly to mostly cloudy skies, slightly breezy. High at 58 with an overnight low of 38. Then for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, pretty much sunny skies. Highs are going to be in the low to mid-60s. Expect lows in the mid-30s. And then as we head on into the weekend, partly cloudy skies. Highs are going to be in the mid-60s. Yesterday's high was 73, and tonight's sunset is at 6:46. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina, and brought to everybody this hour by Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. What a fun place to go visit with really nice people. All right, your turn, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You want to hear something that it kind of warmed the cockles of my heart the other day. In Oakland, California, they've got a church choir that just gets out there and sings hallelujah, hallelujah. I love hymn music and I love choir music. I really do. Well, it seems like in this one area where this one church was located in Oakland, California, a new person moved into the neighborhood right next to the church. Well, the church has choir practice a couple of nights a week, and then, of course, on Sunday morning, they really belt out their great church tunes. Well, this person said, I don't want to hear that music. I don't want to hear that choir. And they got all bent out of shape, and they go to the town council, and they demand that the town council send a nuisance letter to the church, the minister, and the congregation. And the nuisance letter said, basically, shut up, or you'll be subjected to a $500 per day fine. A church. A $500 per day fine. Now, I really question whether or not for maybe an hour at the most on certain evenings when people are up and having supper, the practices were between like 6 and 8 at night. They weren't late. They weren't bothering anybody. And then, of course, on Sunday mornings with their church services, and the great hymn music and the great choir sounds, man, it gets me all bubbly just thinking about it. I love choir music. But this person was really anti-church, anti-Christian. Well, instead of wringing their hands and running to a corner and going, oh, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? I love the response of the church. We are going to keep singing. We are going to keep singing louder. And they even organized, I love this, to kind of stick it in the eye of this person that complained and try to get him stuck with a $500 per day fine. They're going to start organizing an outdoor gospel fest. Oh, hallelujah! I love it. You know, that's what more of us ought to do. I'll give you an example. I was doing a rodeo about 8-9 years ago, and the rodeo grounds is right smack dab in the middle of town. I'll tell you where it is. It's St. George, Utah. I did the Dixie Roundup for 30 years. And then it's a great money raiser for the different funds, for the Lions Club, etc. They do so much to help the community. Well, the Dixie Sun Bowl built right smack dab in the middle of town, and all of a couple of sudden people, some people, that lived within the proximity of the Dixie Rodeo ground says, nope, at 10 o'clock at night, the sound's got to be off. You got to turn it way down. And I can remember they were trying to figure out how to turn down the sound so that the people in the grandstands, and I think the Sun Bowl seats right at about 8,000 people, how are they going to hear that sound of the rodeo? And, you know, attempts tried and attempts failed. Because a couple of people, for 3 nights out of the year, didn't want that rodeo there. They didn't want to hear the national anthem. They didn't want to hear anything. And, it just bothered them so bad for those 3 nights out of the year. Why? We can't have that. We've got to have our beauty sleep. And I saw one of the people, and believe me, they could sleep for 100 years and it wouldn't help their looks. But this church, I love the way they're going to fight back. Bring it on, baby. Bring it on. $500 a day? Well, go ahead. but we're going to organize an outdoor Gospel Hour Song Fest. I love it. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't leave me hanging here. Come on, give me a call. Let me know what your thoughts are. And I know I sound like I'm an insurrectionist, but I absolutely think it's time to fight back. Fight back and don't put up with the nonsense and all the gibberish. You know, oh, we don't like that. No, you got to quit. No, we don't care if it's an event for the Heart Association. We don't care if it's an event for the Cancer Association. We don't care if it's for eyeglasses through the Lions Club. Oh, no, you got to shut it down. Shut it down. Why, we can't stand that for 2 or 3 days. Why? That's wrecking our lives. For all the good that these various groups do, I just wish the city and others would tell these naysayers, just please, go shut up, sit down in the corner, put some cotton in your ears for 3 days, 2 days, whatever it might be, and just let good prevail instead of your negativity. I really don't care about 1 or 2 naysayers. I really don't care about the minority. Do you? Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Talk to me, caller. Go.
Hello? Oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go.
Okay, I just wanted to say hallelujah to that church choir. That's awesome.
All right. All right, sir. Thank you for your call. Hallelujah is a good word to say, too. Hallelujah to that church choir.
Yeah, I can hardly hear you, Al.
All right.
Let's be on the radio.
All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Sorry. Hallelujah. That's a good way to stick it right there. And I'll bet you that Hillary Clinton is not going to sing hallelujah this week. She's going in front of the Benghazi committee this week, and Trey Gowdy and the rest of them. This is going to be good watching. I cannot wait to see some of the outtakes on the different newscasts as to how they paint the picture and what's done verbally at that committee hearing with Hillary Clinton. Woo! I hope the fireworks gets bigger and really everything hits the fan. I will say also that what Trey Gowdy said to the other members of the GOP, I really respect him for what he did. He told other members of the Republican Party and the GOP specifically, shut up. If you're not a member of the committee and you really don't have all the information necessary as to what's going to be asked, what's being said, etc., shut up. I like that, Trey Gowdy. I really do. I like that attitude. If you're not involved in it and you don't know what's going on, shut up. And that's true with a lot of things. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget our friends at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, we had Randy on the air this last week representing all the Les Schwab Tire Centers in this Magic Valley. And they've got all your tires for all your different driving needs, including the backcountry tire, all-terrain tire. And they've got a lot of their tires on sale right now, like the Ultra Z900 for your cars. Ooh, that is a good tire. And the Open Country HT for your pickups and SUVs. The very, very, very best of brake service with professionally trained technicians. The best of shocks and struts, front end alignments, batteries. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? If you know that you need some of those things, you'd better take care of it for safe driving at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, John on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and my buddy Randy on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, and be it far from me to mention to my good buddy Randy, the Seahawks blew a game yesterday. Another one? Whereas the Packers are still 5-0. However, I will say this in all honesty. My lovely bride and I were sitting there watching the Green Bay game, and there were many times during that last fourth quarter that I said to her, They are playing like a bunch of blindfolded high schoolers. And quite frankly, the way they looked yesterday, they are going to get their wings clipped in the not-too-distant future. That was not a good game for Green Bay to still remain undefeated, but they should have been beat yesterday. I got to be honest. San Diego should have beat them. Okay. Just had to be honest and fair right there. Let's see, what do we got coming up this morning? Great lineup of guests. Doug Johnson from Colorado is going to be on next hour, and then we've got Bob Trent with the Alliance Defending Freedom. Then we have our dear friend Jeff Poole, the Scows Answer Man at 9:46. And then at 10:06, we're going to be talking to Linda over at the Golden Heritage Senior Center, and a brand new segment this morning at 10:15 with the Minidoka Memorial Hospital. We are going to start telling you all about the Minidoka Memorial Hospital. And on the program this morning, the lovely lady, Tommy Hanks. Tommy. I'm sorry, Tammy, I've known you for years. I don't know why I said that. I let my mouth overrun my brain there for a moment. Tammy Hanks. Please forgive me. That was rude. And then, of course, at 10:32 this morning, Ryan Horsley with the Reds Trading Post. So, wow, what a lineup. And I really want to say thank you to the Minidoka Memorial Hospital for being a part of our program. For the next many, many weeks, we're going to tell you all about them, and very nice people. You're listening to Zeb at the Ranch. Make sure you're hearing everything. Contact Mount Harrison Audiology for a hearing screening. Call 312-0957 today. We're going to take a little break. I'll be right back. Don't go away. Oh, here we go. Hour number 2. Welcome back to Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And, of course, we really want to say thank you very much for all they do for your safe driving. And you be sure and stop in and see them today. And our friends at Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal.
Always at your disposal. Boy, those are key words. And, you know, you can almost set your watch by the way they come along on the route service every week and pick up your garbage. It's gone. It's out of there. Wonderful folks serving you at Western Waste Services and, of course, locally owned and operated. All you have to do is just pick up the phone and call and get more information, maybe about dumpsters or about porta potties or about the route service, or the list goes on and on. Always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, you get a hold of them today. By the way, as you know, every morning on the program, when we start things off, we have our weather forecast brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. Carpet, flooring, kitchen construction, home decor, whatever you need to make your house a home at Cheney Flooring and Home Design in Burley. Wonderful, wonderful people. There's something else, too. When there's the passing of a loved one, don't forget Hanson Mortuary. You know, I mean, the world, as you know it at that time, is just completely thrown into a turmoil. You don't know what to do. You don't know how to get it done. They can help. They will help. Joel Heward, his staff, and his family, they are there to serve you. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. And don't forget, always with the highest ethical standards, with unquestioned integrity. They really care. And they will help you. At Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. Number to call, 436-5636. It is a Monday, and I always look forward to my dear friend back in Colorado. And one of these days, whether I've got to go east or whether he's going to go west, we've got to meet, shake hands, and introduce ourselves person to person. And that is Doug Johnson back in Colorado. Good morning, Doug. How are you?
Well, good morning, Seb. We're doing good this morning. How about you?
Well, we got a lot of rain yesterday. Did that hit Colorado, too?
No, we didn't get any. We're expecting rain Wednesday and Thursday this week, so maybe it's just taking its time getting here.
And it may be raining on Hillary this week when she goes in front of the Benghazi committee. Let us only hope and pray, shall we?
Well, we should, although I don't suspect it will. Trey Gowdy's already said he will surprise people how fair he will be to her. And I'm starting to think not a lot's going to come of this. I don't think they're going to get too far, and either way, I don't think it's going to stick too much to her. Unfortunately, I'm not real confident, and I really hope I'm wrong.
You know, I got to tell you something, Doug. As I looked at that debate last week with Hillary as the light fixture and the other four as the dim bulbs, that was one of the worst displays of a debate I've ever seen. After you've had some time to think about it, what were your thoughts?
Well, I think the crowning moment was when Bernie Sanders really let her off the hook for her email problems and such. And I think that told us everything we needed to know, that neither he nor anybody else is really seriously going to be in the battle for their nomination, and that this is really hers to lose. And the chances are, short of a federal indictment, that she probably will be their nominee. And maybe even with a federal indictment, because it seems to me that a lot of people don't care about that. So I am not confident. I mean, he was given a prime opportunity to come at her about that, and instead he just let her off the hook, and everybody else went along with it. And I think that alone should be enough to tell every American what they need to know about the Democrat Party.
You know, honestly, Doug, and some might be offended by this, but that's the way it is. I'm not going to pull any punches. You look at Chafee, and you look at O'Malley, and you look at Webb, and you look at, of course, Sanders. I mean, it was nothing more than a love fest. Let's all build a fire and make chocolate s'mores and sit around and sing Kumbaya. It was pathetically sickening. That's my thought.
Well, absolutely. It's a waste of time. And I think, they go through the motions because they have to. I think if the Democrat Party had it the way they really would like it, there would be no challengers. It would simply be, Hillary's our nominee, we're going forward, because that clearly is where they want to go.
Well, it's clearly where they want to go, but why waste the time? Why waste the money? Why have the networks get involved in such foolishness as everybody clamoring basically to try to get a job in the Hillary administration? That's what it looked like to me.
Yeah, I don't know why, but it's just like you say, it's a love fest, and both not just for the party, but for the media, which is really part of the Democrat Party.
Yeah. On the other side of the coin, boy, I got to hand it to Donald Trump. He always finds a way to stay in the limelight and get all kinds of free publicity, get all kinds of network exposure. The man is a genius when it comes to putting himself in the marketing tool of being right in the right place at the right time and say something volatile that's going to keep him in the news.
Well, he is. He's a marketing and branding genius, which is one of the reasons both the Republican Party and all the pundits and the people in media don't understand, because they don't understand business. They don't understand marketing. I've said before, not to pat myself on the back, but his world is the world I grew up in, and the world I know, and that's the world I'm actually most comfortable in. And I am not surprised one bit how well he's doing. Because he is an expert, like you say, at keeping his face and his name in the media. In fact, it was interesting that after the Democrat debate, the Time magazine, liberal Time magazine, proclaimed Donald Trump the winner of the Democrat debate because of all his Twitter rants during that debate. And I thought that was hilarious, but that just shows. And to add to that, he and Ben Carson, he started and Ben Carson followed suit. They're taking a stand against CNBC for the way they were going to run the debate and saying, we're not participating unless you change it to this. And CNBC buckled because, and this is what I think is so important, Zeb, and I think you'll appreciate it. I'm not sure a lot of people will, but they should. Donald Trump, in dealing with the media, in dealing with all this kind of stuff, in dealing with CNBC right now, is showing a perfect example of exactly what he would bring to the presidency, which is an amazing ability to negotiate even from a position where people don't think he has a position to negotiate, he finds a way to come to a deal. Nobody else has that. I have a number of friends who are close to Ted Cruz, involved in his campaign, and big Ted Cruz followers. Now, I like Ted a lot. But one of the points I made the other day to him that I think you'll appreciate is I said, here's the difference between Ted Cruz and Donald Trump, without getting into the little details. But on the big scale, Ted Cruz is used to winning in court and on the debate stage, where you force submission to your competitor by legal means. Donald Trump wins through negotiation and comes out the winner in the end, where everybody walks away with a deal and smiles and is happy. And there's a big difference in how that works in real life and how you make things work. And so when people criticize Donald Trump and they say he'll just be a dictator, the fact is he'll be a negotiator, and people don't understand that and understand how powerful that is.
One thing I would say, and this is open for your discretion to chew on me if you don't agree with me, but I would say this about Donald Trump and the media and what is being set by him looking in their eyes and basically saying, no, wait a minute, this is the way it was meant, this is the way I said it, and you better report it that way. He's going to saddle his own horse if he does become the president of the United States, and he's going to tell the media if they want to catch up with him, they better saddle theirs and learn how to ride it, because they're not going to jump on his coattails and be in bed with Donald Trump.
Well, that's right. And if people have paid attention to Donald Trump, he has always said that he will name names and hold everybody accountable. Yeah. That's what he does. It doesn't matter who you are. He will say what he's going to say, and he will stand up. People don't, especially people on the right, don't feel comfortable with the fact that he's a fighter. He's a brawler. This is where he comes from. It's where he comes from. I like to say he fights like a Democrat, because there are no holds barred. He just goes for it. And I think that one of the things that's hard for a lot of people is that they haven't seen that in so long, they forget what it's like for America to stand up. Now, he may fight differently than you or I would, but I'm not going to argue with the guy who's winning. I mean, he's still winning, and that's great. And I think America is tired of being losers and is waiting to see that turn around. I don't think that we have been strong and stood up for ourselves at a minimum since 1992 when Bill Clinton was elected, maybe even since 1988 when George H.W. Bush was elected. The H.W. Bush era is a debatable era, but certainly from Clinton forward, we have not stood up to the world and to our enemies and to anybody the way we should.
Absolutely. Doug, bear with me 30 seconds. I've got to get a commercial in here. We're on the air with Doug Johnson. I'll be right back with him. Don't forget, let's ride. Highway 24 between Rupert and Hayburn. 270 Highway 24 to be exact. And this is where the fun is sold. Don't forget to check out the Suzuki 4x4s. Time to start thinking about snowmobiles. Time to start thinking about new timber sled snow bikes. All of this and more at Let's Ride. You're going to have a lot of fun where the fun is sold. Don't forget to great accessory department and service department. Great people at Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and Hayburn, where the fun is sold. Doug, you probably are aware of the flap that's going on right now between Saturday Night Live and the Mexican population here in this country and Donald Trump. The Mexican coalition, if you will, does not want Trump to be on Saturday Night Live as a guest host, and they're condemning the network, NBC. They're saying, oh, no, you can't have him on there. Why? Look at what he said about this, that, and the other. Whereas it's going to put egg all over Saturday Night Live's face because they've had Hillary and many, many other politicos on there, and they're going to really be smeared with discrimination if they don't. What are your thoughts about this?
Well, until you said it, I knew nothing about it, but I do have a reaction, and my reaction is the entire reason they would want Trump on is he will bring ratings that nobody else will bring.
That's right. That's right.
I would find it interesting if they would walk away from the ratings. They might, but I'd find it interesting. Inevitably, whatever the Mexican delegation is saying, I'm sure are lies, because Trump has never said bad things about Mexicans. What he's talked about is the criminals who've been led across the border, across the Mexican border. And there's a big difference about talking about a group of bad people and all of a group of people being bad, or all of an ethnicity being bad. But it'll be interesting to see whether NBC buckles to political correctness or holds for ratings, because that'll be interesting. And I'm not changing subjects. I'll just add this comment about ratings. The CNN debate with the Democrats had 10.7 million viewers, and people say, "Oh, look how many more the Republicans got." They only had 10.7 million because Donald Trump was tweeting the whole thing, and a lot of people on the right were watching and following along on his tweets to see what was going on. If he had not been doing that, they probably would have only had a couple million. And so he is a ratings megaforce, and these networks want that. And so I think they'll be real hard-pressed to turn him away at this point.
Well, stop right there, Doug, because I want you to give me a reaction on this. Okay, fine. Trump tweeted about what was going on with the Democratic meeting and what was going on with that debate, and it helped the ratings. But the next time, if he shuts up and they don't say anything with that kind of a love fest that came out from the first one, I dare say that they'd be lucky if they had 2 million people tune into that thing.
Oh, I think you're right. I mean, even from the first debate on Fox, the second one on CNN, this upcoming one on CNBC, well, I shouldn't say the upcoming one, let's talk about ones that have already been, but I should say the Democrat debate. What we're seeing is unique. They've never, for debates, seen, especially primary debates, they've never seen these kind of ratings for Democrat or Republican debates in the past. Not even what CNN got at 10.7 million has ever been hit. And so this is huge. And the factor that's changed everything this time is Donald Trump and a very angry American electorate. And that's what's driving this. And these networks have to tap into that. And that's why Donald Trump realizes he has a negotiating power he does to, for example, in the upcoming debates, say it's not going to be over 2 hours. You're going to give us opening and closing statements. Right. I'm not participating. And they will buckle because he knows they need him.
Did Donald Trump go too far in his remarks regarding the 911 involvement of the illegal aliens and, of course, the Middle Easterns and, of course, intimating that if he was president, it wouldn't have happened? It really riled up the Bush family. But what are your thoughts about this? You wrote a very interesting piece about that.
Yeah, and I'm glad you asked. One of the things people have to understand, and I think the media doesn't understand, but most voters do, because the American people are not stupid. They understand how Trump talks, and he talks in broad, sweeping fashion. He doesn't always give all the detail right at the spot until he's pressed for it, because they understand him. And, his message about 9/11 was that had his immigration policies been in place, that wouldn't have happened. And I looked at this thing going on between him and Jeb, and I think Jeb is an extremely weak candidate. And, of course, Jeb took it personally because it's a family thing, and I understand that. But I don't think, number one, that Trump was out of line, simply because I don't think when it comes to our politics and to our nation that any question is out of line.
I agree.
A person should be able to ask any question or make any statement they want. Now, they should have to stand behind it. And Trump's whole point is that if you look at my administration program, my immigration program, if we had that in place, 9/11 could never have happened. And I looked into that, and I wrote about this, and gave a great example from a guy by the name of Ed Straker, who writes for American Thinker, who talks about the things that we never hear about regarding 9/11 and how Bush could have possibly prevented what happened. And as Donald Trump said, and even Ed Straker, who was, by the World Trade Center when this thing all happened on 9/11, they're not saying that George W. Bush was responsible. He didn't cause 9/11. But had he done the job differently, the way Trump says he'd do the job, it very possibly could have prevented it and saved 3,000 American lives.
You said something very key in your dissertation a few moments ago. You were mentioning about he didn't say it to hurt anyone or anything, but the main thrust of what Donald Trump is doing to politics, as far as I'm concerned, is bringing things out into the spotlight, center stage, that have never been talked about in political presidential races, at least not during my lifetime.
Oh, absolutely, and I think this is so healthy for Americans and America. You and I have talked about it before, Zeb. He is shattering political correctness, and this is the greatest gift, whether you like Donald Trump or not, whether you vote for him or not. You have to, if you're thinking at all, you have to be thankful for the fact he is destroying political correctness and causing things to be talked about on a very upfront level. And this is really, really healthy for America. And this is, very frankly, prior to his announcing his run, or prior to my knowing that he was going to announce, I knew it a little beforehand, but prior to that, I really didn't have any hope that America could have another chance before going right over the cliff. And I feel like we now have a chance because of what he's doing. I personally, at this point, I believe he's the best choice for president. But even if he isn't, destroying the political correctness has allowed people like Ben Carson to also do this and take a stand. And so we're seeing this as a really healthy thing. And I think that this is a gift that America, they may not recognize today, but if we survive long term as a nation, some point in history in the future we'll look back and say this was the turning point. We talk about the Reagan Revolution. We'll look back and talk about the Trump Revolution in the future, I think.
Real quick, and I've only got 2 minutes left, Doug, so keep your remarks rather brief. Paul Ryan, Speaker of the House, I know your feelings about him. I know my feelings about him, and which have, by the way, overlapped yours. I'm very concerned about Paul Ryan. Is he going to win it, or is there somebody better that's still looming out in the wings that we need to check on?
Well, I think there are better people that aren't running, unfortunately. My fear of what's going to happen is that the establishment Republicans, who still do control things in the House,
right,
that they're going to align themselves with the Democrats and either elect Paul Ryan or some other establishment Republican to control this, that the conservatives are not going to win this. That's my fear. I hope I'm wrong.
We have a caller with a quick question. Caller, you're on the air fast. Go ahead, please.
Sorry about that, guys.
Not a call?
No, sir.
All right, thank you. Doug, real quick, Paul Ryan, a lot of people don't know, basically, according to Roy Beck, president of the Immigration Control Organization Numbers USA, very concerned about Paul Ryan with an open borders philosophy. I've got about 30 seconds left.
Yeah, no, that's my concern, that and the fact he supports Obama trade, which are both devastating to America. When Luis Gutierrez throws his support behind you because your immigration stand, that should be a red flag to all the voters to say, we don't want this guy. Paul Ryan's a nice guy, he's a smart guy, but he's an establishment Republican and shown himself to be, and we need to be cautious. We need somebody else, and we shouldn't buy into this nonsense that the House is crippled just because they haven't made a decision yet. They can take time. That's not going to hurt anybody. It's a lie to say it has to be done right now.
Absolutely. Doug, the very best to you, your wife, all is well, I hope, in Colorado. Thank you for your time again this morning. Outstanding interview. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Zeb. We'll talk to you next week.
My friend Doug Johnson, author and the Horse Sense blog writer, and does a great job. Thank you, Doug Johnson, right here on Zeb at the Ranch. I got to pay some bills. I want to give a testimonial right now. What do you mean a testimonial? Yes, I want to give a testimonial. My pickup had been damaged by a person that didn't think very much of other people's personal property, and it really, really irritated me because, man, I try to take care of my vehicles and everything else. Well, I went to Snake River Auto Body and Paint in Twin Falls at 404 4th Avenue West in Twin Falls, and I have never in my life been treated as good by a business as they did. They treated me with the utmost respect, got the job done. We knew what the estimate was. They came out and took all the pictures, did everything. Wow. And the service is impeccable. They are absolutely the best. Great quality, great customer service. If you've got a problem with one of your vehicles or a horse trailer or whatever that needs to be fixed, I highly recommend Snake River Auto Body and Paint. And again, located at 404 4th Avenue West in Twin Falls. And the telephone number to call, 734-5790. Satisfaction guaranteed, and I'll guarantee you the work is done right at Snake River Auto Body and Paint in Twin Falls. And that is a personal testimonial from me. Those folks are good. Don't forget, too, some other folks that are really good, and that's, of course, Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this, and much, much more. You need to make sure you're protected. You need to make sure you're covered. Well, they can help, and they will help. All you have to do is call for an appointment at 436-4424. 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Some really, really nice people. Oh, my goodness. In just a few moments, we're going to have the Alliance Defending Freedom on our program, and we've got some interesting stories this morning, so don't go away. And by the way, too, don't forget our friends with Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox. They can offer rebates on qualified Lennox home comfort systems, whether it's a gas furnace, an air conditioner, or a heat pump. You and your family will enjoy the comfort. Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox can save you money. Call them today at 678-0459. Later on this morning, I am going to have, I think Debbie's going to be on the air with us, Debbie Critchfield, and talking about the second annual Pilgrim Pride Dinner at the Golden Heritage Senior Center at 2421 Overland Avenue in Burley. It's going to be on November 19th. You know, it sounds like a ways away, but it's not. It's right around the corner. It's going to start at 5 p.m. on the 19th, go to 7:30 p.m., and it's $10 per ticket, and I'm telling you, it's going to be turkey and ham and all the trimmings. Absolutely fantastic. Door prizes, raffles, all kinds of great entertainment, and you don't have to be present to win. You can eat, and if you got someplace else to go, if we draw your name, we'll get a hold of you for the door prize. The second annual Pilgrim Pride Dinner at the Golden Heritage Senior Center on November the 19th. Don't you miss it, okay? Red's Trading Post, as I've been stating many times on this program, I believe now more so than ever before is the time to learn about firearms for protecting yourself, your family, and your property. And at Red's Trading Post, 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls, they've got a wide selection of new firearms from Browning, Beretta, Weatherby, Ruger, Benelli, Smith & Wesson, and Winchester. And later this morning, we're going to have Ryan Horsley from Red's Trading Post on our program. Since 1936, they've been in historic Old Town Twin Falls with the best of customer service at Red's Trading Post, 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls. Let's go to the phone lines right now, and it's time for the Alliance Defending Freedom. And we have with us this morning a gentleman by the name of Bob Trent. Good morning, Bob. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. I'm good. How are you?
Well, it's a real treat to have you on the program. And help my old age memory, I believe this is the first time you've been on the show, hasn't it been?
It is. I've worked with some of the attorneys that have been on before. Of course, I work with Carrie Kupek, that's on your show all the time pretty closely. So I feel like I've been on, but this is the first time that people heard my voice.
Well, welcome, Bob. I do appreciate it. Last week, it was no shock that Planned Parenthood basically came out and they're going to be changing the way they do things, which, in my opinion, was nothing more than an admission of guilt to the general public as to how absolutely heinous that activity at Planned Parenthood is. Give us a recap as to what happened in the last week to 10 days.
Well, last week, Cecile Richards, the president of Planned Parenthood, wrote a letter to the National Institutes of Health saying that Planned Parenthood would no longer accept reimbursement for fetal body parts. This means that they were no longer going to sell on the open market the body parts of babies that they'd killed in their clinics. Most people view this as an admission of guilt, that they realized that they were doing something wrong, and now they're trying to cover up all the wrongdoing by saying, okay, we're going to stop and try to close the case right there.
Yeah, but Bob, wait a minute. When Dillinger and Al Capone were robbing banks and pilfering money, and they decided to stop because the FBI was getting close, that doesn't make them any less illegal. They had to pay for their crimes. Why shouldn't Planned Parenthood?
Well, they should. In fact, just today, the state of Texas has decided to, for cause, stop funding the Medicaid program with Planned Parenthood. They're canceling their contract specifically for the issues revealed in those Center for Medical Progress videos. And, of course, in those videos, it shows Planned Parenthood executives negotiating the price of those baby body parts. And that is the core of the issue, is that there is seeming proof that this has been going on for some time. And so, just to your point, Planned Parenthood wants to say, yes, we've been killing 300,000 people a year in the babies that are aborted in their clinics. And yes, we have been at times selling some of those body parts for profit. The real question has been, is there profit involved? And to our mind, the answer to that is absolutely. There is no cost associated with Planned Parenthood selling body parts to procurement companies. Most often, those procurement companies have staff inside the Planned Parenthood clinic that literally go in, talk with the mother who's about to abort the child, get their consent to donate the remains for sale, and then take the remains, process them, and then send them on to their procurement centers. So Planned Parenthood has no cost, and yet by Cecile Richards' own admission, they charge at least $45, sometimes $60 per specimen. If you remember, Abby Johnson testified in Texas in relation to this, and she said, based upon those numbers alone, that means that the Houston Center, which is a mega center for conducting these abortions, could make as much as, based on their quotas, $100,000 a month in the sale of baby body parts. And so these are things that have been documented over time, and now Planned Parenthood wants to wave a magic wand and say, oh no, that's all done with now, so please stop looking at that. Unfortunately, Texas has said no. As of today, they are suspending the Medicaid contract with Planned Parenthood, and that is going to be significant dollars that would normally go to Planned Parenthood to perform these types of things. And it's entirely based, at least for the most part, largely based upon those videos and what they reveal.
Bob, I want to back up a little bit as to something you said in the early part of the last verbiage in regards to Planned Parenthood talking to the mothers and asking them if they wanted to donate basically the body of their child. Was there ever an inference that maybe Planned Parenthood had tried to, let's say, give more of a gratuity, a cash gratuity to some of the mothers for the donation and not really be a donation?
No, and that's something that I think should be brought out more often. That's a great point, is that quite often the mothers are coerced into signing consent to give their child's remains over to donation. They're not told that those remains are going to be sold. And in fact, quite often, a mother is convinced or coerced into having an abortion in the first place because they tell the mothers that this will go to something good, something positive, help cure a disease or provide transplant material for somebody who otherwise might die. The mother is never told that once she donates those remains, Planned Parenthood is then likely going to profit generously on those remains because they turn around, hand them to a procurement company, and the procurement company pays them for them. The real crime here, I think, is the fact that there's no proof that most researchers agree that there are far better ways to do research than using the remains of babies. There is other tissue that is more readily available that provides far better material for research than fetal remains. And so it's not even necessary, and that's one of the tragic aspects of the case.
We have a caller with a question for you, Bob. Caller, keep it short and succinct. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I know this is not quite on, but it just goes to show you how things are coerced in an attempt to get what some people think they want. But I would wonder if you could elaborate, if you can, if you know, about the Center for Medical Progress. Somebody in that authority from that association was going to go to Australia, and if they got off the plane, they were going to be instantly arrested. But the Australian government either didn't understand what was going on or didn't care to know the truth, and I'll hang up.
Bob, would you respond to that caller, please?
Well, I actually had an opportunity to interview David Leiden about a week ago at a protest Planned Parenthood rally in Orange County, and his focus has been primarily on what's going on here in the United States. So I don't know if he has plans to expand their undercover investigations in other areas of the world. However, his investigations here they are impacting other areas of the world. Just this last week, Lila Rose with Action for Life was in Europe and presented basically this case to members of the European Parliament. They are just now becoming aware of the range of issues that Planned Parenthood is involved in and the scandals that they are regularly involved in. And that's through the International Planned Parenthood Federation, which is directly tied to Planned Parenthood here in the United States. Those issues are just beginning to emerge, and so I believe you will see them as a result of David Leiden and the Center for Medical Progress investigations and the resulting videos. You'll see them have an impact internationally.
You know, Bob, I have said this to Carrie when she's been on the program with me, and I'll mention it to you. I'm a grandfather, and I'm just absolutely stumped as to how any Democrat, father, mother, grandparent, whatever, aunt and uncle, could advocate Planned Parenthood and stand behind them. How do they do that?
Well, they're beholden to Planned Parenthood. Many of them, if not all of them, certainly most in the hearings that I've attended at the U.S. House of Representatives, they all receive campaign donations to keep them in office. And then they are fed just a steady stream of the lies that Planned Parenthood tells people through its, I think they spend $25 million a year in advertising and fundraising, trying to convince people that Planned Parenthood is a good organization. They do good things and offer women choice. It was interesting in this, Sue Thayer is one of our clients, and she testified in the most recent House hearing. She's a whistleblower. She's a former Planned Parenthood director. And in her testimony, she talked about these issues that Planned Parenthood has. A Democrat from Illinois, Representative Gutierrez, talked about the need for Planned Parenthood to provide women's choice because women in Puerto Rico did not have the choice when it came to sterilization. And this is a horrible chapter in both U.S. and Puerto Rican history in which up to a third of Puerto Rican women were sterilized. And Representative Gutierrez was so sold into the Planned Parenthood messaging that offers women choices, he didn't realize that Planned Parenthood did an awful large number of those sterilizations of Puerto Rican women is under the guise of birth control. And of course, I know that you're familiar in the kind of the eugenic history of Planned Parenthood and its founder, Margaret Sanger, which targeted populations deemed, in their words, undesirable, and worked to both limit the populations and then abort the babies if they occurred. So they are beholden to Planned Parenthood, and so they need to continue to support Planned Parenthood and use their messaging as the result.
We've got time for one more quick call. I've only got 2.5 minutes left. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Okay, real quick. I've talked to 3 different people who are pro-Planned Parenthood in the last couple of weeks, and their general argument is that Planned Parenthood does so many good things like free mammograms. My question is, isn't Obamacare supposed to take care of that? And how can they justify, funding free, Planned Parenthood for things such as free mammograms when Obamacare said it was going to take care of all our health care needs? I'll take my answer on the air.
All right, very good question, sir. Bob, go ahead.
Well, this is one of the more shocking lies that's perpetually told about Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood offers no mammograms. They don't have the equipment to do mammograms in their facilities. And in fact, they have a very limited capability of even referring mammograms. And this goes back to the Sue Thayer testimony just a couple of weeks ago in front of the U.S. House, in which she said that because there were no doctors on staff inside Iowa Planned Parenthoods, local hospitals, local facilities would not take their referrals for mammograms. That means that Planned Parenthood has no business in mammograms. They cannot provide them. They cannot even refer them. So a woman who goes there is getting, at times, cancer examinations, breast examinations by someone with a high school degree who can then say there might be a problem and you might need to go to another clinic who would then be able to refer them to a mammogram or some sort of enhanced screening. So it's that is continually one of the most perpetuated lies about Planned Parenthood. They cannot provide mammograms, and in many cases are very limited in their ability to even refer.
I tell you what, I wish I had more time, not only for this story, but also another one that really raised my ire, the city of Atlanta versus the fire chief, Kelvin Cochran. We're going to have to do that at another time, but Bob Trent, don't make yourself a stranger. Come back, please. You did an excellent job, and I'd welcome you back on behalf of the Alliance Defending Freedom. Please tell my audience how they can check on these stories and more with ADF.
Well, you can always go to adflegal.org, and that has a list of all of our issues and the cases that we're involved in and ways that you can get involved in your community. And we just appreciate anybody going there and reading up more about what we do and the importance of defending religious liberty right now in the United States, the sanctity of life, and supporting marriage as God intended it.
Absolutely. Bob, thank you for being on the program, and we'll look forward to having you back. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
God bless. Thank you. Great guy, Bob Trent. First time on the program, and I really appreciate him with the Alliance Defending Freedom. We've got to get the weather forecast on here, brought to you by Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service. They were here the other day and blew out our lines, so we're not going to freeze up this winter. Excellent service. That's right. Blow out the sprinkler lines and trim all your trees and pruning and removal of tree limbs. I'll tell you what, they've got a new machine for a curbing machine. If you want a new curber on your property, these are the folks to get it done. Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service, 438-2485 or 431-8733. Here now is Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather forecast as we get ready for another work week. We are looking at chance of thunderstorms and rain showers for today. A little bit on the breezy side as well. High at 58 tonight, expect a low of 44. Tomorrow, partly to mostly cloudy skies, slightly breezy. High at 58 with an overnight low of 38. Then for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, pretty much sunny skies. Highs are going to be in the low to mid-60s. Expect lows in the mid-30s. And then as we head on into the weekend, partly cloudy skies. Highs are going to be in the mid-60s. Yesterday's high was 73, and tonight's sunset is at 6:46. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the
wonderful forecast, Gina. Great job. Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service brings you the weather this hour. And, of course, don't forget, they can take care of, you get on the list and have your sprinkler system blown out so it doesn't freeze up this winter. Take care of it. Call them at 438-2485 or 431-8733. Oh, my goodness, right now it is time. It is time for Scow's CarQuest Auto and Truck Parts Answer Man. And, of course, Scow's with locations in Rupert, Hayburn, and Burley. Since 1949, Scow's CarQuest Centers, and, of course, every detail matters, parts, sales, and service to keep you running safely down Americans' highways. Here is my friend, the Answer Man, Jeff Scow. Good morning, Jeff. How are you?
Good morning, Jeff. How are you?
Not too bad. Boy, we really got a rainstorm last night, and all the more reason if they were driving last night in that rain, it came down pretty hard. They better have new window wipers on their car from Scow's CarQuest Centers. Woo, it came down hard last night.
Yeah, it really did. Much needed rain.
Listen, what about, we talk about all the things with what you can do for our vehicles, the batteries, and talking about everything else, getting ready for winter and the fleet surveys and everything. But a lot of people don't realize that you have a lot of power tools over there, too. Tell us about some of the power tools that you've got.
Well, the tools are definitely what, keep everything running, per se. Innovation of the power tool is really, kind of fallen off in a lot of ways to the electric tool. You don't require an air compressor. You got it right there with you wherever you're at. That's kind of the neat thing. And the innovation, the power, and the longevity of these tools has come a long way. They're very impressive.
Now, what kind of tools are we talking about? Give us an example of the wide range that you have available.
Well, if you're used to power tools, we'll talk about the basic stuff. Say a 1/4-inch ratchet, 3/8 ratchet, up to your air guns, your air pistols, sanders, whatever. Basically, what we've been told is any tool that they make in their product, they want to have that available to the consumer via electric.
Mm-hmm. Now, what about, a thought just hit me here this morning because we haven't had a chance to talk about this prior to going on the air this morning, but I would imagine that there are many, many cases where farmers and other folks might be building a shop and they don't know what to have in it. Can they call you guys and you can kind of give them an estimate as to what they need?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, as far as the supply of tools and shop equipment we can provide, everything from lighting basically to hand and power tools to shop lifts and hoists, draining equipment, safety equipment. Basically anything that's in a shop, we can provide. So.
Okay. And then what about guys like me? What about the knowledge to learn how to run them?
You're on your own, Deb. They're pretty self-explanatory, I guess. The day of the ratchet and wrench will never go away, per se, but, let's say the innovation of these power tools is pretty impressive. Again, if you're a do-it-yourself or a farm or production, whatever, your business is, or personal use, like I say, you run out to the middle of a field and all of a sudden you need a place to plug in your generator, to plug in your air compressor, to plug in your air tool, your electric tool. That's all you need. It speeds up time, production, it speeds up the job. It's just a good all-around tool.
Let me ask you this, Jeff, and you kind of touched on it a little bit, but I'd like you to elaborate on it. I would imagine a lot of major companies, there's a lot of research being done on how they can, make their product better, bigger, and safer, and all kinds of innovative ideas. Is there a lot of research going on every day?
Well, there really is. And like I say, battery technology, not only in the automobile, but in these power tools has come a long way. As I mentioned, longevity of the tool. I think that's what has kept a lot of consumers and businesses away from purchasing these electric tools. You'd go out and use them, and you had to have a truckload of batteries. These things now can put in a pretty good service. 3-4 hours of constant use. We're talking taking off heavy-duty stuff. We recently had a deal where we're taking off leaf spring bolts, and it takes a pretty mighty wrench to do that. And this was all done with electric.
So what about the recharge value as far as time is concerned? Does it take a long time to get those batteries restored for the next job?
No, it really doesn't. They put a lot of technology in the longevity of the battery. Its service interval time and its recharge rate has come a long way. So its recovery time is not hours anymore. It's more like an hour, even a half hour, to get 4 or 5 hours of use out of the tool.
Mm-hmm. Now, another thing, too, and I've got to pay more attention to this, is filters. Talk to us a little bit about all the filters that are available for the different means and means necessary at Scow's CarQuest centers.
Well, filters is it's a broad subject, I guess. A lot of opinions on filters. We're backed up by Baldwin Filters, and we feel like that's a great move for us. They've been in business since 1936. They're an industry leader in the field, and they're very innovative. They're an OE supplier for many of the big names that are household names in this industry, and we're proud to have them on board with us.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the locations. I had a lady call me. A lady called me on this last week, and she says, I know you've said that there are 3 locations of Scow's CarQuest in Rupert and Burley and, of course, the big truck center over there at I-84 exit 211. So which one do they go to for the various means? She asked, I only have a car. Should I go over to the one in Rupert? And explain exactly what all 3 locations do to be more individual.
Sure. We'll start with our Burley location. Some of their specialties and what they do over there is they are based, mainly in automotive and truck parts. They have a full driveline service over there for ag and industrial, and your pickup and car needs. The machine shop, of course, for all varieties of engines. They also offer automotive paint and industrial paint there. But mainly them guys do, automotive and truck parts. Our Haven location, they are strict truck parts for the most part. They have some diversity over there, JCB equipment and their tractors, so that they have them parts there as well. Heavy duty springs and suspension stuff for your semis, ag industrial stuff is all there.
Mm-hmm.
Our Rupert location, same thing. We do automotive and truck parts, but we also have a repair facility there as well for your automotive, truck, and heavy duty, equipment needs. So each location does have its specialties, and also I forgot to mention our Rupert shop also does radiator repair. That's our only facility that does that. So each one is diversified in its own way, but brings some specialties to the table as well.
Absolutely, and I'm very, very proud to know this guy. He's a sharp cookie when it comes to anything automotive, and that's Scow's answer man, Jeff Poole. Scow's CarQuest Auto Truck Parts at 3 locations, Rupert, Hayburn, and Burley, and since 1949, Scow's, of course, every detail matters. Parts, sales, and service. Jeff, God bless you, man, and we'll look forward to next Monday having you on the program. Thank you so much.
All right, take care, Zeb.
All right, thank you very much. That guy knows, Jeff knows everything about automation and automobiles and trucks and everything else, and I really appreciate having him on the program. Scow's CarQuest Auto and Truck Parts in Rupert at 323 East 8th Street, Highway 25. In Burley at 518 Overland and the Big Truck Center, I-84 exit 211. Scow's CarQuest Auto and Truck Parts. Every detail matters. Holy cow, let's see. What have we got coming up this next hour? I got to kind of break this down a little bit for you. At 10:06, we're going to be talking to Debbie over at the Golden Heritage Senior Center about a great big dinner that's coming up. Last year, I'm trying to remember, I think they served over 300 people at that Pilgrim Pride dinner. It was an amazing success. And I want to stop right there and say that you're really helping people with the Meals on Wheels program and also the senior center itself. Our seniors sometimes are just pushed to the background. Not here. We're going to make sure that we keep our seniors in the forefront, and we urge everybody to be a part of that dinner coming up on November the 19th, and we're going to be discussing that next hour. Then we got a brand new segment on the Monday program, and it's the Minidoka Memorial Hospital, and we're going to have the lovely Tammy Hanks on the program this morning as kind of our inaugurative type visit with Minidoka Memorial Hospital. I bit my tongue. I shouldn't have done that. And I'm looking forward to it. Should be very interesting and informative. But right now, we've got to take a little break for the news, and we'll be back in about 6 minutes. Don't you go away. I have spent the last 6.5 minutes killing flies. I can't stand those flies. They're coming in as their final hoorah. Good morning, everybody. Zeb Bell. Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And our friends at Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call, get on the route, service 734-6969. Don't forget you're listening to Zeb at the Ranch. Make sure you're hearing everything. Contact Mount Harrison Audiology for a hearing screening. Call 312-0957. You know what? Let's take a look and see what the menu special is today at the Chadwick Sports Grill. Oh, my. This is one of my favorites. Croquet Monsieur. You know what that is? It's French ham and cheese sandwich served with hot cream sauce and melted cheese on top with choice of potato, veggie, soup, or salad. Croquet Monsieur at the Chadwick Sports Grill. Go in there and you got to say it with the right flair. Croquet Monsieur. That's the special at the Chadwick Sports Grill, along with other great menu choices. 139 West Main in Burley today. Croquet Monsieur. I love saying that. Anyway, good morning, everybody, and don't forget that every Thursday we have a special segment on our program called Cassia County School Days, and our thanks go out to the two sponsors of that segment, A Child's World at 1308 Oberlin in Burley. And don't forget, tomorrow, Tuesday, is Grandparents' Day at A Child's World with 10% discounts on your purchases. Everything for the babies at A Child's World, 1308 Oberlin in Burley. Along with the Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley. Number to call, 677-8888. If you're anticipating a surgery in your future, contact them, and they may be able to save you a lot of dollars. Ambulatory Surgery Center, and the number to call, 677-8888. Along with the Child's World, bringing you school days in Cassia County. Right now, we've got Debbie Critchfield on the phone this morning as part of our Golden Heritage Senior Center. Debbie, what's going on at the Golden Heritage on Overland for this week? Anything special?
Not any. Well, I guess the smorgasbord is special. It's special to me. It's fun.
What do you mean? What do you mean smorgasbord? When is that going to take place?
That's on Thursday. It's the fourth Thursday of every month, and it's just when Debbie, the cook, just puts out all kinds of different foods.
Oh,
lots
my.
of salads and different main dishes and just, a lot of choices. But usually everybody takes a little bit of everything.
Now, that's going to be on Thursday. Now, what time does that smorgasbord run, and how much is it?
It is at 12. And if you're 60 and over, it's by donation, so there's no set price. If you're under 60, it's $6.
Oh, boy, it sounds really delicious. You know, Debbie, a lot of people don't appreciate and realize the value of our senior citizens. I don't know why it is, but in the last 10 years or so, it seems like when you get to be a little gray on top, people kind of push you off into a corner, and as if you're not doing anything or you're not a vital part of the community. Boy, that's a misconception, isn't it?
It's a complete misconception. I think most of us, our bodies age, but our minds are still around 18 to 20.
Absolutely.
We've got a lot of life left in us and a lot of energy and interest in things. And, don't push us in a corner.
You know,
if you're over that age, don't put yourself in a corner.
Absolutely.
Be active and socialize.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of socializing, not only for seniors, but the general community right there at Golden Heritage, isn't it?
There is. We need a lot more people to come in and just see what it's all about. It's not just about, we're not a bunch of old people just sitting around, twiddling our thumbs. We're in there and we're having fun, and they have activities. We have games, we have card games, and there are people that come in and play pool, and there are art classes and yoga and just bingo on Tuesday nights. There's usually something fun happening there all the time.
All right, now one thing I want to mention again this morning, it's not too early to be thinking about the second annual Pilgrim Pride Dinner coming up on November 19th. Last year, we hit a home run out of the park with the amount of people that came in and enjoyed the great food. Kind of give us a recap about last year, how many people were served, and tell us a little bit about this year.
Last year we had, I think it was close to 200 people that came through. And this year we're trying to even get more than that. Our seating will be a lot better this year. There will be a lot more room to, we'll have a lot more tables and chairs set up. And the parking will be a better situation than it was last year. We'll have more room for parking. The food will be the same because it was so wonderful last year. We don't want to change anything. It's the traditional Thanksgiving dinner with all the trimmings you can think of. Mm-hmm. And we'll have some entertainment. And, of course, we'll have you emceeing, so that'll be great.
Well,
There's a lot of door prizes.
A lot of door prizes.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say a lot of door prizes, and the unique thing this year, Debbie, so that we're not tying everybody up all evening long, is that they can come eat, they can get some raffle tickets, etc., and they don't have to be present to win. Isn't that right?
That's absolutely right. They do, yes, they do need to come in and turn in their ticket with their name on the back, but
right.
Yes, we will call them absolutely later. They don't have to be at the dinner to win their prize.
Absolutely. You know, it's a fun night. It's going to be November 19th, and the location of the Senior Center is at 2421 Overland in Burley. And there's just a whole bunch of really nice people on the board of directors there that are making things get bigger and better at Golden Heritage, aren't there?
There are, yes. Yes, the volunteers, the board of directors work very hard, put in a lot of volunteer hours to make the Senior Center a better place, and yeah, for special events like this, or like the breakfast we just had on Saturday. That was, I was out of town, but I heard that it was well attended and everything was great.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of volunteer hours in that too.
Well, I'll tell you what, the cooking over at the Senior Center. Now, I got to say this. Last week, we walked in there to have a meeting with you folks, and your lovely cooking staff gave us some peach cobbler. Oh, Debbie, that was delicious.
It was so good.
And
that would be Connie, the lady who does most of the baking and desserts, and yeah, she does a very good job.
And the job on the cinnamon rolls, I mean, I'm surprised that more people aren't aware of all the great food over there.
I am too. I am surprised, but then I realized before I started volunteering, I was one of those people who was unaware, so... But the way, you know, we do advertise, and talking with you, more people are hearing about it. I just wish that they would make the next step and come in and see what it's all about and try the food.
The whole thing is, Debbie, before I let you go this morning, is we want to amplify the fact that by supporting the Golden Heritage Senior Center with this Pilgrim Pride Dinner, they're helping the Meals on Wheels program. Quickly, tell us about that.
That is absolutely our main focus. We deliver 45 to 50 meals each day, each weekday, to people who are basically homebound, and sometimes that's the only human contact they get. And it's also a wellness check to make sure that they're doing all right, and if they're not, we let people know who can come in and help them. And sometimes that's the only meal they get all day, is the one that we bring them. So that is our main focus. That's the reason we fundraise constantly, to have enough money to be able to continue doing that.
Absolutely. We're talking to a wonderful, lovely lady, Debbie Critchfield, over at the Golden Heritage Senior Center at 2421 Overland in Burley, and mentioning about what's coming up in November 19th. It's going to be the second annual Pilgrim Pride Dinner. Debbie, God bless you, and we'll talk to you again next week. Thank you so much for being on the program.
Thank you, Zeb. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you very much. Nice lady. Great, folks. And let me tell you something, folks. The meals over there and the delicious desserts, delicious. You're going to love it. I guarantee it. Hey, don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric offering rebates on qualified Lennox home comfort systems, whether it's a gas furnace, an air conditioner, or a heat pump. Your family and you will enjoy the comfort. Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox, saving you money. Call them at 678-0459. You know, I'm excited about this next interview that we have, because we're going to be starting off something interesting on this segment every Monday and Thursday on our program. And we'd like to say a good morning to Minidoka Memorial Hospital at 1224 8th Street in Rupert, and the lovely Tammy Hanks. Good morning, Tammy. How are you?
Hey, Zeb, I'm great. How are you doing?
You know, I'm great, but you know what I like most about having you on my program is the energy in your voice. You really get excited.
Well, thank you. There's a lot to get excited about, let me tell you.
Well, tell us a little bit about what's going on over there with kind of a caring and sharing, if you will.
Well, absolutely. You know, we're just excited to be part of the Zeb Bell program, and I just can't wait. I guess I get to be the maiden voyage here for the hospital, and I'm very proud to be able to do that. Of course, we have our Caring and Sharing event coming up here right away. Thanksgiving weekend. It's just around the corner. And this year, our theme for our Caring and Cheering Christmas Tree Festival is a Minicaja Christmas. And I've had some people say, well, a Minicaja Christmas, well, isn't it in Minidoka County? I'll say, well, yeah, it's in Minidoka County, but it's still a Minicaja Christmas. We might be two counties, but we are one community.
Absolutely. Well, tell us a little bit about this Minicaja Christmas. What is it? What's it supposed to do, and what does it entail?
Well, the Christmas Tree Festival is held every year over Thanksgiving weekend. It's at the Rupert Civic Center, and the address for that is at 624 F Street, directly behind Doc's Pizza. If you can find Doc's Pizza, you can find the Civic. What makes this so special is because it coincides with the lighting of the square. Our kickoff for us is our gala celebration the day after Thanksgiving, and it is from 11 till 2. Now, people think, oh, a gala celebration, do I get to go to that? We want to extend an invitation to everybody in the community to come and get a look at the first look at the trees. This is when you get the first chance to see them and to purchase them. And let me tell you what, these trees go fast. And it just amazes me. We have a catered luncheon, and it's by Thomas Cuisine and Jeff Strohmeyer, our chef here at the hospital, and he puts on a fabulous meal for us. And you know what? We don't charge you anything. You can come in your Levi's. You don't have to get all gussied up if you don't want to. We try to make this as friendly as possible, and we just want the community to know that, you know, it's so important to come over here and see what is really going on. And I have to say this, you know, this isn't just a hospital event. This is a community event. There are so many people that donate to this and that purchase this and support this, and we're just very proud to be a part of it.
You know, Tammy, tell us a little bit more, too, about the Teddy Bear Breakfast. What is that?
Oh, that's my favorite. I love the Teddy Bear Breakfast Saturday morning. And parents, if you have never brought your child to a Teddy Bear Breakfast, you're in for a treat. From 9:30 to 11:30, if you come over to the Rupert Civic to our festival, you can have breakfast with Santa Claus. And let me tell you what, we've got this fantastic breakfast that you get to have, and you can come in for free if you bring a brand new unwrapped present. You get to eat for free. You get to sit with Santa. You get to sing with Santa. He gets up on the stage. He does his belly laughs, and we do our belly laughs, and it's just wonderful fun.
Well,
I have to tell you that all of the toys that are donated, they go under our giving tree, and they all are donated to the Minicaja Christmas Council.
Well, you know, here it is. It's hard to believe, but Christmas and Thanksgiving, wow, they're looming right around the corner, and you're getting ready for it early and notifying everybody there's a lot of fun to be had, isn't there?
You know, there is so much to be had. We also have a senior social on Saturday, and I don't know if people are really familiar with this one. And it's in the afternoon from 2 to 4, and we really would like to invite our seniors in the community out. People over at American Heritage that you were just talking with Deborah Critchfield about, if they want to come over and have some cookies and punch, it's a fantastic opportunity to just, you know, have a little bit of low-key time and visit and just take a gander at all the beautiful lights and sounds of Christmas. Now, you will not leave there without the Christmas spirit. I guarantee you that.
Oh, I wish more people were like that. And also, coming up on that weekend, you're talking about Santa and Me photo area too, right?
Oh, absolutely. Not only can your children or you, Zeb, I would love to see you on Santa's lap. I would take your picture. You can come over there. It doesn't cost you anything. Sit on Santa's lap. Let your children visit with him. The lines are not huge. It's, you know, you can come at any time that we're open, and whenever Santa is there, and sit on his lap and let your kids have that experience, and, you know, without being too scared or anything like that. We also have the wonderful Jolly Elves that are there to assist and help take pictures. So if you want us to take a picture for you, we will. If you want to use your own camera, we'll take it for you. It's just great.
No, I tell you what, Tammy, you are just an exciting person to visit with. And all of this, we want to recap, is coming up next month in November. Give us the dates again for this Caring and Sharing Minnecasia Christmas.
Well, it starts the day after Thanksgiving, Friday, November 27th, and it runs through November 30th this year, Monday. Monday is our big day. That's when all the entertainment from the schools come in, and that is such a fun day. That's when grandparents and parents can come in and watch their children or their grandchildren, and the entertainment that we have throughout the weekend is fantastic. It's phenomenal. You know, the amount of people that get involved in this. I also have to tell you, the admission in the door is always free.
Oh, my.
If you want to come over on Friday night and Saturday night, it's always free. Bring your whole family. It's not going to cost you a dime.
I tell you what, this lovely lady is just a real excitement to visit with. She's always got a smile on her face. Tammy Hanks with the Minidoka Memorial Hospital at 1224 8th Street in Rupert. Is there a general number they can call over there, Tammy, for more information?
Absolutely. Have them call me at 436-8124. If I don't happen to answer, leave me a message.
I tell you what, I can't wait to have you back on again, and we're going to be talking to some more folks as the weeks go by. On Thursday, we're going to be talking to Carl Hansen, and I'm looking forward to it. More information about Minidoka Memorial Hospital at 1224 8th Street in Rupert. Tammy, God bless you. You always do a great job, and please come back and talk to us in the future.
Hey, Zeb, thank you. And don't forget to come over and see us on Thanksgiving weekend.
You mentioned about me sitting on Santa Claus's lap. Well, I'll tell you what, he better have overload shocks on his knee if I do that, Tammy.
Well, how about if the Santa sits on your lap?
Thanks, Tammy. God bless you. I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
That is a wonderful, wonderful lady and representing a wonderful, wonderful place. Minidoka Memorial Hospital. I like the attitude. I love the attitude. And their vision of Minidoka Memorial Hospital is an independent community hospital dedicated to improving the health and well-being of the Minnecasia area. Nice, nice people. And they're going to be on the air again on Thursday. Thank you very much. I've got time for a couple of phone calls. Why don't you give me a jingle real quick at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to remind you that every Thursday we also have the Denny's High School football game of the week, and we're going to have another one this week, so don't forget to send your picks and your selection in to zebattheranch@hotmail.com or call my cell phone at 312-2976. Juan over at Berry Equipment was the winner of the game between Burley and Filer this last week, and he receives a Grand Slam breakfast from Denny's at 611 Overland in Burley. Good eating. I was over there yesterday. Kind of a personal note, and Dave and Don Zanino and Deanna and I, I had some of that French toast. It is absolutely delicious. You're going to love that. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a jingle on the landline, and we'll talk about anything you want to talk about for about the next 4 minutes. So give us a jingle time for you to kind of fill in the space, if you will, a little bit. I'd love to talk to you. And, Wheels, what did you do this weekend, by the way? Did you just kind of sit around and watch all the good football games?
Yeah, pretty much.
Really? I didn't know you were a football fan.
Well, we try to watch some sports, but, you know, my parents are usually busy, and if I get to catch something, I usually like to catch a pretty good game.
All right, what did you watch? Did you see that college game between Michigan and Michigan State?
I didn't, and I wish I would have. I've seen quite a few Oregon Duck games.
Yeah.
And I really wish I'd catch some of the other teams because, you know, Oregon Ducks are great, but Michigan seems like they're pretty interesting too.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, that was a crazy, crazy ending with Michigan and Michigan State, and I'm going to be talking about that with Frosty Woolridge tomorrow. He's an alumni of Michigan State. I got up, left the room. I thought the game was over and Michigan had it in the bag, and I had a knock on the bathroom door. I'm getting ready to take a shower, and my wife said, Michigan State won. I mean, in the last second.
That's interesting. That's kind of like Boise State when they went to the Tostitos Bowl that one year. Remember that?
Oh, I do.
They did that reverse ladder at the
hook and ladder play.
Yep. That's right. Yeah, at the last 10 seconds, and boy, did they win that game.
Well, they didn't do so well at Utah State this last Friday night. They got a good old country whooping, and Utah State really showed them which way to leave the exit. And Boise State didn't do so well. And my Chicago Cubs that I wanted to go all the way to the World Series, they're down 2-0 against the New York Mets, and they're going to play again tomorrow night in Chicago at Wrigley Field. Boy, I hope they make a comeback, because it's going to be a short exit if they don't.
I really do too, and to be honest, how are they doing against the Yankees?
Well, they don't play the Yankees.
Oh, they don't?
No, the Yankees aren't in the playoffs, and the Mets and the Cubs, and I'm hoping that the Cubs come out and end up going to the World Series. By the way, I got one quick message, and then we'll send it back over to you, Wheels. Thanks much. I appreciate it. Tomorrow on the program, we're going to have Frosty Woolridge, and then we've got a great story about the Environmental Protection Agency at 10:30. You don't want to miss that. And I believe that Dr. Ken is going to be back. Dr. History will be here tomorrow in the studio. A lot of great things going on tomorrow morning's program. Right now, we're going to send it back over to our main studios. We're going to have this break at the bottom of the hour, and then we're going to come back with more with Ryan Horsley at 10:31, 10:32, right in that neighborhood. We're going to be talking about gun control and what's happening with possible lawsuits to gun manufacturers and gun stores. So don't miss that, coming up in just a few moments. Ryan Horsley with the Reds Trading Post. Now we'll send it back over to our main studios. I'll be back in 3.
And now back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Welcome back, and thank you very much for being with us this morning on Zeb at the Ranch. And when I want information about various topics, I call on the best people to come on this program. I call on people that know. I call on people that have fought in the trenches on various subjects. And this next man that I'm going to introduce absolutely knows how insidious the government can be, and how also we need to be on guard. More so now, more than ever before in America's history, for the government and various groups trying to take our guns away with more gun control bills and items. And so therefore I call on Reds Trading Post at 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls and talk to Ryan Horsley. Ryan, good morning to you, sir. How are you?
I am excellent, Zeb. Thank you.
I have said prior to doing your advertisement on my program, and I gave a little personal note, and I'll say it to you again on the air, I think now more than ever before, Ryan, people need to become aware of self-protection, because the police can't be all places at the drop of a hat. And I also say now more than ever before, if they're ever interested in owning a firearm for their personal protection, now is the time to do it. There are increasing rumors that this Obama administration is really going to try to come down harder with more rules and regulations. What are your thoughts?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you take a look at, and some of these things would not have prevented any of these tragedies that have happened. You take a look at the executive order that he placed earlier this year, banning the re-import of basically World War II guns. And, for instance, M1 carbine or M1 Garand, and obviously I haven't seen any mass shootings with an M1 carbine or an M1 Garand, and So that does nothing. And you take a look at, what they're now proposing is very interesting. It is essentially a prohibiting, and they haven't said what the magical number is, but what they're trying to do is block individual transfers or individual sales, or if you're giving a firearm to your wife, it's more so a registration continuing to come down, and it really is, because they haven't said what the magical number is going to be, but they're going to, if you transfer so many firearms per year, then you have to be a dealer, and if not, they're coming after you, and you're beginning to see this more and more, and so. A lot of people are like, hey, this is great for your business. And I'm like, I don't want to do all these transfers. I don't want to do all these transfers and, have to deal with this.
Yep.
And that's just what's been happening lately. And again, this would not have prevented any of these tragedies either.
Ryan, let me ask you some various questions about some of the things you just mentioned. Now, number one, what about the buying a gun, whether it's a hunting rifle or whether it's a target shooting pistol or whatever, for a spouse or a son or a daughter? Boy, are they really going to crack down on that too, to where everybody has to basically follow their rules and jump through all the hoops to personally own that gun? What's going on there?
Oh yeah, absolutely, and that's what you're beginning to see, and if it was interesting, this decision that just came down on this gun shop that had sold firearms to an individual who had shot 2 police officers.
Right.
And and really it boiled down to, and you hear it, and obviously I have a lot of friends, have a lot of customers who are police officers, and the initial reaction, which they're looking for, is absolutely outraged. And but then you start taking a look at it, and you feel some empathy and be in their shoes and going, okay, well wait a minute. I mean, there's no blatant it comes back to if a firearm is used in a crime, if it was legally transferred, and there was no signs that they did it intentionally or anything else to give it to a felon or anything like that, but it was a straw buy, and they really didn't go after the person who was involved in the straw buy, but what they did do was go after the dealer, and obviously that has some concerns, and not only that, but there is. I had a great conversation with a woman last week. She was looking for an inexpensive firearm to protect herself.
Mm-hmm.
She said, I'm looking for a high-point pistol, which we used to carry. And we stopped carrying those because anytime those show up or are, any of those inexpensive firearms, our federal firearms license gets flagged, and then they use it saying, hey, listen, this business has been flagged so many times because of these firearms. I said, we just can't sell them anymore. And, and that's what it boils down to, is not being able to sell firearms that are under $250.
So,
and and a lot of people can't afford the $500,000, so on and so forth,
right,
firearms, and so that becomes a concern as well.
Let me ask you this, and it's a very naive question on my part, but what about the old days? Like if owner A has a .22 pistol or a rifle, and he says, I don't want it anymore, and I'll sell it to my neighbor, owner B, and that guy buys it for $100 or something like that, and then down the road he gives it to his nephew. Are all of those illegal and illicit today?
It's a big gray area. It's a huge gray area, and this is what is concerning, because right now, the whole gifting and all of this other stuff that's happened for years. If all of a sudden, Zeb, you want to, you come in and you purchase a firearm for your wife. And, the first question is this firearm for you?
Yeah.
And if you answer no, I can't transfer the firearm. But then if you're giving it as a gift, and there's all this gray area which causes me concern because the drop of a hat, they're going to fight against us on that. And again, if all of a sudden, some grandpa wants to give his 15-year-old son a lever-action rifle for Christmas, which is coming up, then it tends to be gray area as well, because technically you cannot own a firearm unless you are a long gun unless you are 18. Mm-hmm. So, do they go after that grandfather for illegally transferring a firearm? And again, it's this whole gray area right now. But at the same time, when push comes to shove, it causes me some concern.
I listened intently to Obama. I've listened intently to the Democrats, whether it's Hillary or any one of the five stooges up on the stage at their debate the other night about gun control. I'll come out and say it, and you can rebut this, Ryan, but I honestly believe that if the Democrats and the liberals would really put forth their mantra in truth, they would like to see a total gun confiscation, not more gun control. Am I wrong?
No, I completely agree with you. And I read actually a great article in Huffington Post. And say what you will about Huffington Post, which is a very liberal paper, but at the same time, and people, it's funny because some of my friends have said, "You read Huffington Post?" I go, "Absolutely." It's interesting to see what they're saying and what they're planning on doing. And it basically said that these, it's finally time that these Democrats are able to, stop pretending like they're in favor of Second Amendment rights, which they're not. And I thought how blatant it was, and that these Democrats are finally, because they test the waters. Mm-hmm. And as well as I do where they stand, and they can say, they can give their soundbite on how they're a proponent of the Second Amendment, but you and I know that's not the truth. And and again, it's always mastering that soundbite is, I am in favor of the Second Amendment, and then waiting that couple of seconds, but, and that's when you wait. Yeah. Or ask the targeted questions, then they'll say, except for assault weapons or whatever else they've used to, or Saturday night specials, and they'll use all these terms. And and that's what should cause anyone concern is when they start saying this, or I own a firearm, and to be able to relate to each of us. But and then because they know we tend to put our guard down and go, oh, okay, they own a firearm, or hey, listen, they said they're in favor of the Second Amendment, so we're good, and but pressing them a little bit more and not just taking them for their soundbite. That's what's really interesting. But I thought that article was very, very revealing, and in their true motives.
Ryan, I will say this, and again, if you disagree with me, tell me if I'm wrong, but there are two groups of people in this country right now that I think are being subjected to government terrorism not to be able to protect themselves, and that's the senior citizens. They could possibly say, well, if you're receiving your Social Security check, then do you have a firearm? And if you own a firearm, because you're 65 and older, maybe you're not able mentally or whatever to have that gun, we're going to hold the check monthly until you turn your guns in. And the other group that I think is being subjected to too much scrutiny are our military veterans coming home from the service. I honestly think there is gun control being imposed on those two groups right now. Am I wrong?
No, in fact, actually, it happened to a good personal friend of mine who he had worked here at least a decade ago, and went off to serve in Afghanistan. And when he came back, they said, well, you have PTSD, and then they finally said, hey, listen, they said, okay, you need to remove all the firearms from your home. And even his wife could not have any of them in the home. You want your firearms, then move outside of the home from your husband. And and he you know what? And he said, well, I'm going to fight it. And I said, good luck. And but as well as I do that they put so many obstacles in your way that it's unless you have a small fortune to spend, there's nothing you're going to do.
Right.
And that's these senior citizens on limited income, and and some of these soldiers coming back as well. When you lose your rights, for whatever reason, and and I've had people who have lost their rights within technicalities of the court, and or it was supposed to have came back, and it doesn't. It's nearly impossible, and they have made it so it's nearly impossible for you to ever get those rights back.
Let me ask you though, Ryan, do you think with the personality of this administration, and in the remaining 457 days left with Obama with his pen and his phone, is it in reality to where they could come out with something that would say, okay, if you're going to draw Social Security benefits, we're going to come in and review, and if you're a gun owner, maybe you're not mentally competent. Do you think we will see a tougher crackdown that way of gun control?
I think you saw it within the creative way that they did it in the Clinton administration with the with the housing authority, and you see some pretty crafty stuff. And honestly, they're really wanting to. There's more and more of a push, and to get into everyone's medical records to be able to say, hey, listen, this person has been deemed, depressed, has depression or something else. Citing some of these cases, this is what is a concern, and and there's a lot of people out there who have who frankly just want the privacy and don't want all of our medical records opened up and scrutinized to see what we should or shouldn't own, or what we should or shouldn't have. And it's by any way possible, and I think that some of these tragedies have opened the door for this, and and so many are willing just to sacrifice their rights. Say, oh yeah, go ahead and open it up because this is going to save some children. Is it really going to save some children? No, it's not. And no, it's not. And that's what we have to to take a look at. Is we keep getting presented with these options. Hey, listen, if you just let us have this, then then everything's going to be fine. This because frankly, I know you feel the same way as I do. I hate these tragedies when they happen. They're it's so disturbing and it's heartbreaking, and and most citizens feel that way and say, oh, boy, if we can do anything to stop these tragedies, I'm willing to sacrifice something. But at the same time, are those sacrifices by giving up your Second Amendment rights or whatever else, is that really going to do it? And we've seen no. That this would not have stopped it, or that would not have stopped it. But we're getting gun control shoved down our throat. As we're told, hey, this is for the public good. And there are a lot of people who just believe it and say, okay, yeah, boy, I'm signing up. That's great. Go ahead and do that because it's going to prevent these tragedies. No, it's not.
Ryan, I want to ask you this. You, on behalf of Red's Trading Post, have been in business since 1936. But on the other hand, here we have chain stores across the United States that are being basically threatened and coerced into canceling the sale of guns. Little by little, domino by domino. It must worry you, even though they're competitors, to see them drop out of selling guns because the hammer's coming down on everybody. Isn't that true?
Oh, absolutely. You take a look at, Walmart just said that they're going to stop selling AR-15s, and another one is, one of our biggest stores that just came in is Dick's, and Dick's had done, right after the tragedy at Sandy Hook, they took a position. They said, we are going to stop selling AR-15s. And the ironic thing, and they got blasted by the Second Amendment community, going, yeah, you're going to stop selling them for a short period of time because we can't get any. And so it was, and then obviously they started selling them again. But those are the ones that are forced politically to to cave. And and they'll continue. Those are the first ones to cave. So it's not and they continue to whittle away. So there's part of me, people are like, oh, you must be happy that Walmart's going to stop selling these firearms because that's going to drive more customers to you. Short-sighted, yes, that's great. However, in the long run, as they continue to whittle away, or that continues to shut down some of these companies by hurting them in the pocketbook and being able to prohibit them from being sold at large dealers or large stores like that, really affects the industry as well.
Let me ask you one final question. I've only got 2 minutes left, Ryan, but what about another means and mode of having gun control by trying to stop or coerce financing companies, banks, etc., not to fund private business and private enterprise? Boy, that to me is absolutely happening all across the United States.
Well, absolutely. There's so many banks. In fact, most of the big banks, and not only the big banks, but also insurance companies. Insurance companies won't. We've had a very difficult time, getting insurance over the years from because a lot of them are, oh, you're a gun shop? Absolutely not. And the banking is as well, that's or being able to offer financing to our customers or anything like that. It's kind of a Gcash only, or you see all these other avenues like eBay and Amazon. Well, frankly, we can't use a lot of those, because of the fact that they've leaned on them, or PayPal, or some of these other places, and so. Being able to just simply get paid, or complete a transaction is difficult as well.
Ryan, I'll tell you what, I can always learn a lot about what's going on with guns and gun control by having you on the program. Reg Trading Post, Ryan Horsley at 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls. Please come back on a more regular basis. I've got a lot more questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Zeb.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Very, very sharp individual. Excuse me, Ryan Horsley at Red's Trading Post. Thank you very much for being on the program. And thanks to that fly that almost invaded my windpipe, but I managed to get him out of the way. Hey, we better get the weather on here real quick because old Wheels is wondering, what are you doing over there? Well, the weather is brought to you this hour by Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Don Scarrow and the rest of the crew, changing the way we eat one delicious bite at a time. Call them at 324-7657. They guarantee everything that they sell at Scarro's Meats. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather forecast as we get ready for another work week. We are looking at chance of thunderstorms and rain showers for today. A little bit on the breezy side as well. High at 58 tonight, expect a low of 44. Tomorrow, partly to mostly cloudy skies, slightly breezy. High at 58 with an overnight low of 38. Then for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, pretty much sunny skies. Highs are going to be in the low to mid-60s. Expect lows in the mid-30s. And then as we head on into the weekend, partly cloudy skies. Highs are going to be in the mid-60s. Yesterday's high was 73, and tonight's sunset is at 6:46. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Gina, thank you. Excellent weather forecast brought to everybody this hour by Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657. They are changing the way we eat one delicious bite at a time. Thank you. Hey, real quick, Mike Campbell sent me a notice about the 4th annual dinner and raffle for Veterans Helping Veterans. It's a fundraiser spaghetti dinner and raffle rifle to raise money to help veterans. It's sponsored by the Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association, Veterans Helping Veterans, Chapter 13 and 5. I hope I said that right. And this is Twin Falls, Burley, and Rupert in Idaho Falls. It's going to be from 5 to 7 p.m. at the River Christian Fellowship Church at 4002 North, 3300 East Falls Avenue in Twin Falls on Saturday, November 7th. And we're going to have Mike on the air and talk more about this in the next days to come. So stay tuned for that. I want to remind you, too, about our friends at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, my. Went up to the stop sign the other day and said to yourself, "Well, I hope this vehicle stops." Well, you'd better have your brakes checked. That's right, free brake inspections and estimates. And then professionally trained technicians to really help your brakes. That's right. They've got the brake industry's best warranty right there at all your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. You know they've got all the tires. They've got all the tires for all your driving needs. And, of course, front-end alignment, shocks and struts, and the batteries, and the best in service. They really care. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, John on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Woo, what a weekend, busy weekend, and the first couple of days of this week they're saying might be a little bit wet and a little bit chilly, but then clearing up and not being too bad into the mid-60s, and we've got a lot of other things to remind you about. I want to say one more time, the second annual Pilgrim Pride Dinner, Golden Heritage Senior Center, November 19th at 2421 Overland Avenue in Burley, and if you have questions, you can also call me right here on my cell phone at 312-2976. Okay, tomorrow, going to be a fun day, like I said earlier. Lots of interesting topics. We're going to talk about the EPA. Dr. History is going to be on the program. Frosty Woldridge from Golden, Colorado. And, of course, the first hour, we're going to take all your calls and comments. So stay tuned. At 8:06 tomorrow morning, we'll start things off until 11. Zeb at the Ranch on K-Bar, 12:30 a.m. And then streaming live on the internet at zebbell.com. You're listening to Zeb at the Ranch. Make sure you're hearing everything. Contact Mount Harrison Audiology for a hearing screening. Call them at 312-0957. The way things were are the way things ought to be. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 8:06. God bless. Have a good day.